Welcome to my work solutions for the AQA foundation paper. As you can see, it's paper 1, so put your calc away, and we're looking at the summer of 2023 series. Let's get on with it. Question 1, it's a 4-parter, and unlike some occasions, you sometimes have more than one potential right answer. So multiple of 4, they sometimes have another one. Not in this case. There's only one correct answer for each of parts A through D. The only multiple of 4, which number is in the 4 times table, nothing stopping you writing it out, but you'll eventually realise that 20 is the only one. Same with your square numbers. If you're revising, there's never any harm in writing down your first few square numbers. Can help with your recollection, your recall, and you'll see that it's a 9. On part C, I'll just stay here for a sec. Part C asks for a total of 43. And as you can see, there's a couple of big numbers. You wouldn't start with them. It's looking around the other 5, really, trying to find a pair. If they're going to add together to make 43, one's going to need to be odd and one's going to need to be even. So again, that can narrow your options down and speed the process up. Total, by the way, means adding them together, and that's the only correct pair. Largest number in the list is 45. Smallest is 3. Do a bus stop if you need to. It's all good, as long as you get the answer of 15 for your mark. For number 2, I'll give you the perfect answer. That's assuming you've got a full-size reproduction. Obviously, a lot of teachers will have reduced these down. If you're using them for revision, there'll be A5 booklets. So the answer to part A, you'll get an answer much smaller. The perfect answer, according to the mark scheme, is 56. And the rule of 2 applies. 54 to 58 inclusive. Not forgetting it was wanting them in millimetres. If you're finding all my answers about 53 or so really low, don't panic, because there are situations where different photocopiers and different printers can slightly reduce the size as well. So it is one of those situations where, even a 52 or 53 is perfectly fine. The angles, though, the size of the angle wouldn't change. It just makes it more difficult to measure. It wants the smallest angle. That's that one there. Mark scheme says the perfect answer is 50. Again, the rule of 2. 48 to 52 inclusive. And if it has been reduced, it doesn't affect the angle. So you should be agreeing with them. If not, I'm afraid it's a try again, double check it. By counting, nothing stopping you double checking by using the formula. Again, if you're using this for revision, never a bad idea. But it's the old count the full squares, and then 2 halves make a whole. Hopefully you end up with 15. For D, I've bravely decided to do this live because I'm never normally any good with these. To have a perimeter of 20, you'll notice already they've drawn a 7 on for you. The missing side must therefore be a 3. Put a 3 on both sides, meaning you've got 7 plus 3 plus 7 plus 3, and that's the only way of making a 20 centimetre perimeter. On to some negative numbers. When you are multiplying or dividing, if you have 2 signs the same, that's 2 positives or 2 negatives, it results in a positive answer. We've got -4 times -3, positive 12. There'll be some of you who put the plus sign in. No one cares, it's all correct. Here, though, when you're multiplying or dividing, if the signs are different, it's a negative answer. And 6 times 5 is 30. For 3C, don't forget that when you square a number, you multiply it by itself, meaning we do have the situation of a minus multiplied by a minus, giving us 64. Again, the plus sign can be put in if you want to. Cubing a number means squaring it first, then timesing it by 10 again. That gives us 100. Stick another nought on. You may already have known that 10 cubed is certainly not 30, it's 1,000. Write 18 out of. The phrase out of means over. Now, if you've divided top and bottom by 2, that's fine. Top and bottom by 3, that's fine. But the resulting answers of 9 over 15, and if you divide by 3, you get 6 over 10, they are not yet in the simplest form. The way you get to your simplest form is by going to either one of those and cancelling down again, or noticing better than 3 and 2, they're both in the 6 times table. Divide the top by 6 and the bottom by 6. That's the fraction in its simplest form. Number 5, we're working out some totals. We've got pens and calculators, the normal price, but we've got some sales going on. Pens are half the normal price. The normal price is 24. So the sale price, or this price, the offer price here, is 12. The normal price of a calculator, £7. We're getting £1.50 off. Take off £1, you get to £6. Take off 50p. We have £5.50, or if we need to, 550 pence. Let's crack on. Work out the total cost, 5 pence. 12 times 5 is 60. It wants the final answer in pounds. Always worth keeping an eye on the answer. It wants it in pounds. I'm going to work in pounds. We purchase a calculator. We're going to need to add that on. And however you go about your column addition, whether you've done it in pence, 610 pence, you need to convert it into the pounds for the perfect answer. On we go. Turning a mixed into an improper. Method for me, I always use keep the denominators the same. The 5 on the bottom stayed on the bottom. We need to work out how much goes on top. The big number, the coefficient, the 3, times the bottom is 15. Then you add the top. And that's how I go about turning it top-heavy. Big times bottom plus top. To write a decimal as a fraction, always look at your smallest digit. That's a 9, but it's not just a 9, it's 9 hundredths. So this is 19 hundredths. It doesn't cancel down, so don't even worry about that. On we go. Whenever I see a bar chart or a pictogram, before I even read the question, I start writing down how much information I can see. Each of these little squares things is 4 days. So we've got 4, 8, 12. We've got 16 for rain, 4, 4.5. So that's a total of 10 for snow. 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18 for cloud. What I can see is that they all add up to 44. She's recording for 55 days. The sun and the fog must be worth a total of 11. Sun was recorded on one more day. So whatever we've got up here, it should be one bigger than there. So by a process of working that out, I would halve it. It's 5-ish. Go up by 1 and level it off. and then we get to drawing. We need 4 and 2. For fog, we need 4 and 1. And as you can see, didn't need any of the stuff down the bottom, because on diagrams like pictograms, bar charts, angles questions, you can do all the working out on the diagram. Number 8, substitution, but also be careful, follow it up with BIDMAS. T is 5, next to means multiply P, take away the W. BIDMAS, multiplication is first, 5 fours are 20, then you take away the 2 to get 18. Part B is always going to be that little bit harder. Substitute them in again, replace the T with negative 40. But this time we don't know P, so the 5P has to stay like that. Take away 10. We've set it up. We now need to solve it. Adding 10 to both sides. Be careful with your minuses. Adding 10 takes you up to minus 30. And now it's minus 30 divided by 5. Well, 30 divided by 5 is 6. And like I said on the earlier negative numbers question, if you are multiplying and dividing, different signs mean negative answers. We have a negative, we have a positive. It's a negative answer. On we go to some box matching. First one's done for us. Nothing stopping you writing down. You might know what a half is. It's 0.5. You have a scan, it's not there. Certainly not that top one, don't fall for that. A quarter is 0.25. There we go, we can move on. And a fifth is 0.2. Good for revision. But they're not in the list, so what else? Well, if it was percentages, a half is 50% and a fifth is 20%. We have 20%. But we haven't matched the half up yet. Well, we know it can't be that one. Not the same. Digits look, but not the same. 2 over 6 cancels down to a third. Not that one. There we go. It wasn't a percentage or a decimal. It was an equivalent fractions question. A half and 10 over 20 are the same. And you might have spotted that earlier on. It's all good. Number 10. Work out the answer to A times the answer to B. Well, it's BIDMAS yet again. Let's do A first. 8 times 3. Multiplication comes first in BIDMAS. We're doing the multiplication before the addition. Then we add on 2. So A, you should be getting 26. For B, you have some brackets. They need working out first. So we get 21. Take away 15 minus 4 is 11. And we're asked to multiply the answers. Turns out quite nice. We can stick a naught on the 26. Number 11. We're going from gallons to litres. Gallons to litres means multiply by 4.5. I'll go for 45 times 7. And let's see what happens. 7 fives are 35. 7 fours are 28. Add on the 3. So 315 are going to be in our answer. But in the question, there is 1 digit after the decimal points. We need 1 digit after the decimal point in the answer. Or you could do it by estimating. 7 fours are 28. We need an answer that's just above 28. And on we go. Number 12. Percentage increase is one where you either know it or you don't because it's a 1 marker. Okay, you either know when something doubles, that's an increase of 100%, because you're basically getting your original amount and all of it again. You're getting all of your amount on top. That means you're adding on 100% of your amount. Number 13, they're trying to confuse us. Ratios and bar charts. I prefer to line things up. I don't like ratios on the horizontal like that. Orange, apple, lime, 5 to 2 to 3. And on the bar chart, orange is 20, apple is 8, lime we need to draw. But before we draw it, we need to work out, and no matter which of those you look at, it's 4 times bigger. You need to multiply. The L, the 3, needs multiplying by 4. You need to be drawing your bar at a height of 12. Aren't I brave doing it live? Me and technology, not normally the best of friends, but we'll pass. We'll have that. On we go. Number 14. I'm not going to write these out in full. I always write them out in full as I would expect it to be seen, or as I would recommend my students to set out. I always do that on my PDFs. Here, I'm just running through the thought process. I'm just running through how I'd go about thinking about attacking each of these questions. I would simply write a comparison about each column. Comparison 1, percentage of all visitors. So as you can see, you need to compare the proportion. There are quite simply more members than there are guests. All words to that effect. Comparison 2, move on to the next column. Because it's talking about the mean, you should talk about average. So I would put, on average, members were in the gym for a longer period of time. Again, keep it simple, don't overcomplicate, that'll do. Then comment on the range, comment on the spread of the data. As you can see, the guests have a higher range. What does that mean? The lengths of the time the guests spent was more varied. Okay, or you could say the time spent by members was more consistent, had a much narrower spread, or words to that effect. But again, don't overcomplicate, very easy to waffle. There's about 9 lines there. You do not have to fill all 9 lines in. What a waste of your time. Number 15. If you want to work out the percentage that is shaded, you need to work out how much is shaded. The whole is 4 times 5. The small rectangle is 2 by 3. So the shaded is 20, take away 6. The shaded is 14. We can move on. To work out the percentage that is shaded, we need how much is shaded over how much there is in total. Now, there's a variety of ways to change this to percentages. I don't normally do both ways, but I will on this occasion. First way is scale it up so it has a denominator of 100. Multiply the bottom by 5, multiply the top by 5. Use mental arithmetic or short multiplication. The answer is 70. The alternative, how do you turn a fraction into a percentage? You times it by 100. But you can write 100 like that. We can do some pre-cancelling. divide the bottom by 10 and the top by 10. And look what happens when you do top times top, bottom times bottom. 140 divided by 2 still gets you to the correct answer of 70. So it's all good. Number 16. Liz travels that distance in 20 minutes. To scale it up to an hour, how many times does 20 minutes go into an hour? It's 3 times the length of time. And assuming she can travel that speed for a constant speed for the full hour, we need to just do 18 and treble it. Again, if your mental arithmetic's that way inclined, go for 54. Otherwise, do it short multiplication. That's all you needed. If you know how far you can go in 20 minutes, and it's a nice little factor of 60, keep it simple. Number 17. We have algebra and angles clashing together. Notice, they're saying they're straight lines, that's all good. Angle EBD is 5. Everything relies on the small angle A to B to E. In it goes, we're going to call it X. So E to B to D is 5 lots of it. And the third angle is 3 lots of it. X plus 5x plus 3x. We have 9 x's making a straight line. They make 180 degrees. 18 divided by 9 is 2. 180 therefore becomes 20. Don't celebrate yet. 20 is not your answer. It wants the size of angle EBD. That's that fella there. We need to times our answer by 5. It's 100 degrees. Next, 2 prime numbers are multiplied together. The only way you can get an even answer is if one of your 2 numbers is even. And here's the thing, there's only one even prime number. So the 2 is a non-negotiable. That has to be the case. How do we get answers between 50 and 60? And it says between, doesn't say inclusive. So the only answers we can have are 52, we can have 54, 56, or 58. If we're multiplying something by 2, let's divide each of these by 2 and see if they're prime. 52 halved is 26. Nope. 54 halved is 27. Nope, because that's 9 threes, not a prime number. 56 halved is 28. Even. Nope. Bingo. 58 halved is 29, which is our missing prime number. Number 19. Andrew and Bruce share some money. Again, I'm not a fan of ratio, all written on one line. Andrew, Bruce, 5 to 6. Bruce gets 96. Don't read on. We've got a multiplier. Do 96 divided by 6. You'll get 16 as your answer. Andrew must also be getting 16 lots of his share of 5. That's 80 then. We can move on. Andrew gives a quarter of his share. We've got Carl. Andrew gives a quarter. A quarter of 80 is 20. So Andrew will have £60 left. Carl's now got 20. Bruce gives 2/3 of his share. We need 1/3. Running out of room to work out. 96 divided by 3, let's go here, is 32. That's 1/3. We need to double it. Bruce gives £64 to Carl. And there we go. How much does Carl receive? Adding them together gives us £84. Number 20, I'm not risking doing this bit live. There we go. Circle the strength and type. They're very, very close together. Has to be strong positive. Okay, if you can line a pencil over it, if it's okay, it's got to be strong, not weak. Players get 1 extra life for 2,000 points. Jonah plays the game 15 hours. Find your 15. Go up to your line of best fit. Yep, you've drawn it already. Keep it evenly balanced, don't forget. Try and get as many crosses above and below whilst following the general trend. You'll see if you can go across. Zooming on mine, I'm getting 34 or 35,000. Now that's not the answer. Jonah plays for 15 hours. He's scoring, according to my chart, to my scatter diagram, 34,000 points. 2,000 points per extra life. We need to divide it by 2,000 to find out his number of extra lives. All the zeros cancel. Yep, I'm getting 17. Mark scheme, by the way, you can't have part of an extra life. On my original, I think I got 35,000 points or so on my other one. 17.5 I got on my other one. Again, it's one of those situations where it has to be rounded down. Don't go rounding it up. Mark scheme allows 16 or 17 as the correct answer. Next. Number 21. It's working backwards, but if you prefer, you could easily do your factor tree. It'll work a treat, like so. 6 tens, and break it down. And there you go. You can see you've got your 5 squared. You've got your 3, and therefore you've got 2 cubed. So it's 2 to the power of 3. An alternative way of doing it would be to start at your 600, divide it by 3, then divide it by 5 squared, which is 25, and you're left with 2 to a power of a is 8. That power must be 3. No matter which way, if you like lots of writing or want to keep it simple, go for the factor tree method. If you do like a bit more analysis, as I say, either way, you get the answer that a is 3. Here we go, number 22, some algebra. Now it's 2 brackets, but they're not adjacent, so it's not quadratic brackets. Okay, think of this as 2 separate questions. 5 times 3 is 15x. 5 times 4 is 20. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. It says simplify our x terms. We start with 15 of them. We take away 2 of them. You're left with 13 of them. We have 20 on our numbers. We add 2. We're left with 22. Number 23. Make 2 different criticisms of Erica's sketch. Now, I have read the mark scheme. The mark scheme does allow you to redraw the graph. So if you think that's a better option for you, the mark scheme accepts that. If you want to do it in words, criticism 1, it should not be intersecting, touching, crossing, whatever you want to call it. It should not be hitting the y-axis. That's a big no-no. And secondly, as you'll have just seen from my diagram, Erica's drawn that bit in the wrong quadrant. So this top left quadrant needs to be reflected down to the bottom left quadrant. If you wanted to describe that in words, the idea is that the x values, which are negative, so when x is below 0, y is supposed to be below 0. She's got the y's as being above 0. Again, words to that effect will get you the mark. Don't go waffling, and if you prefer a diagram, a picture does indeed say 1,000 words. Number 24, we've got some wordy algebra. I like to lie these out so it goes Sunita, S. X years old, Beth. 1 year younger, take away 1. Joel is double. If the mean of 3 ages is 5, 5, 5, 5, then their total is 15. There's your setup. Let's proceed to solve it. Simplifying your x's. There's 4 of them. There's no numbers to simplify, it's just a -1. It now looks like a more standard solving. Add 1 to both sides and divide both sides by 4. Don't celebrate. How old is Joel? Joel is 2x, not 1x. He didn't ask for how old Sunita was. It's how old Joel is. And he's 8. Finally, some fractions to finish off. When you are dividing, yep, KFC, keep, change, flip, keep, flip, change, however your teachers taught it, but first, get the 2 1/3. We prefer it as top heavy or improper. One of these cropped up earlier. 2 times 3, big times bottom is 6. Add on the top. Now we keep that 7/3 stays as 7/3. Now comes the change and the flip. Can't spot anything to pre-cancel. We proceed with top times top, bottom times bottom. How many times does 12 go into 35? Well, it goes into 36 3 times, which means not enough. It goes in twice with a remainder of 11. And the 11, the remainder, becomes your numerator. The denominator stays the same. There we go. Not the worst way. You should definitely, before your calc paper, be revising fractions, decimals, percentages, particularly the 4 operations with them, fractions of amounts, conversions, and things like that. But there we go. Hope that's helped. I'm now going to shut up and get on with paper 2. Hopefully see you on the next one.